Me.
Hi, welcome to Chez Les Fleur podcast.
Thank you
If
for
you're
having me.
joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're coming back to see us again, we're glad to have you back. And today we're going to talk to Shelley Macbeth from Blue Heron Books. And I think it's incredible that her last name's Macbeth and she has a bookstore. Like, is that funny?
With
Well,
Destiny.
that it's cool actually.
Yeah,
And Shelley is an independent bookstore owner, and you've been at it a long time, haven't you?
I sure have.
How long have you been with your store?
Well, the store celebrates, excuse me, its 35th anniversary this year. I've been with the store for about 32 of those 35 years.
Wow, good
Yeah,
for you. Good for you. So did you start out as a staff member?
I did actually started as the bookkeeper.
Okay.
Good
And
way to
then,
enter a business, right? You get to know the finances before you jump on board.
yeah,
So,
anyway, so the owners were selling, or
uh, yes, the owner, the originator of the store, was looking to sell. She sold to the high school librarian actually before me, who took it on. And then her husband, who is Irish, was transferred to Ireland. So they went to Ireland for a number of years, and I ran the store in their absence. And then when they came back from Ireland, I think she kind of it. I had kind of changed the whole complexion of the store, and I think she probably decided it was a good time for her to exit stage left if I was interested in buying, and I was. So here I am.
excellent, excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your store is busy. Like there's always something happening there.
There
Um,
is, there is. And it's funny. I just met with my accountant today and we were talking about this very subject. And I think that it's in my DNA. I can't help myself. I mean, I am that person who likes a lot of things going on. Well, we agreed today I was probably addicted to adrenaline, but that's a whole other story. But I like creating things, and I'm kind of got that impresario personality. And I think for me, the greatest satisfaction comes with connecting a reader with the book and with the author. So the live event is obviously the closing the circle, and I think the authors enjoy it as well because they sit there and write their books in their lonely garret, and then they get to come out and meet their adoring fans. It doesn't always work out
so
that way.
so you have like events where authors come and tell us about that.
Well, I just did one on I have them very regularly. I just did one on Sunday just past. It was a books and brunch um, with Nita Prose, who is the author of The Maid, and another author, Karma Brown. And that was sold out it was a books and brunch, and I think there was 180 or 200 people there. And so it's lovely. I mean, they have a beautiful brunch in a lovely setting, and then listen to an author interview. And the book is included in the event, and they go home with their book. So that's one sort of event. I have a festival, an annual festival called the Book Drunkard Festival, which I have borrowed the name from Lucy Maud Montgomery, who wrote 11 of her 22 books in Uxbridge. And so one of her more famous quotes was, "I am simply a book drunkard." And so the festival is called the Book Drunkard Festival. Last season, we did 21 events with 25 plus authors in about 4 weeks. That was very grueling. I don't think I'll take that one on again quite like that. But I have events coming up this month or March. Well, I have this month too, but in March and April, I'm trying some out in my own studio. I have a 1,000 square foot studio space at the rear of the store. So I'm doing 2 events in March. I'm calling it Murderous March. And first one's very cool. It's a real life criminal lawyer, Robert Rotenberg, also an author, being interviewed by a real life 30-year veteran homicide detective from TPS. So that's going to be very cool. And then at the end of the month, I have another journalist that you probably have heard of, Elizabeth Renzetti. She's been with the Star forever. She and another author who's also a lawyer, it's Lawyer Month, have created this new series. It's kind of a cozy mystery series that's this is the first book. So that's pretty cool. And then I have 2 more in April. So I'm going to see how those go in my own studio.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of changes have you seen in the book business, the book market? Who's reading books over the last, 30 years you've been in the book
Mm-hmm.
business?
Well, I can certainly tell you my demographic for my events, very much women. And it's not that men don't read, because obviously they do, but they just don't go to book events. I don't know. Occasionally, like I had Brian Trottier, the hockey player last year, had written a memoir, and that was the most guys I think I've had an event in a long time. And even at that, it was only maybe a quarter to maybe a third of men in the audience, still women. But the customer base, fortunately, is, when I say women, it's also women of a certain age. And by that, I mean my age. But the store, I'm seeing, fortunately, it changing, because we do so much with kids and with the schools, because you have to obviously keep bringing them up the pipes. You have to get your new readers. And I don't mean that simply from a mercenary point of view. I really do believe in reading. So it gives me a great deal of satisfaction to run all these storytime programs and all kinds of things for kids, and seeing them so excited about books. It's just heartwarming. And then they grow up and they're teenagers, and then they go off to university, and I see them come back with their pals and saying, here, this is the store I always used to hang out in, that, that kind of thing. And then they come back with their own kids. That's how long I've been there.
Yeah, and it's a great feeling of satisfaction when you see that whole circle of life, and
Oh yeah.
and like you say, the moms that you've known since,
Yeah.
even young teenagers bringing back their families and saying, you know what, we read books, and
Yeah.
this is where we come to get them, and
Yep.
we're going to be here for a little bit because we're going to take part in this. And
Yeah, it's very
and
gratifying.
it really, I mean, I see it in my business too, when
For
you have
sure.
multiple generations coming in, and you just have a feeling that's a little different when it's
Yeah.
multiple generations like that.
Well, you feel like you're doing something positive in the world, I guess.
Right. And we all know, I mean, it's fine to read a book on a tablet, but
Mhm.
there's something about lying in bed with the night light on and turning the
Yeah,
page, and that,
for sure.
and waking up and finding it like, oh, it just, that's just part of it.
Yes, it is. I mean, there's been lots of transition in the manner in which people read, as I'm sure you're aware. The e-reader was the huge threat a number of years ago, and I remember being at some event where I was selling books, and some guy got up at the podium and was going on about how there will not be a single bookstore in 5 years. It's the death of the bookstore, where everyone's going to read on their e-reader. And it was a little alarming, I have to say, but I do remember being at that same event 6 years later and thinking, oh, I wish you were here, buddy, because I'd love to go up and say, I'm still here. But the e-readers settled into their place. There's about, I think, I haven't checked the stats lately, but it was about 18 to 22% of reading is done on some form of tablet or e-reader or what have you. So that still means, 80% of books or paper books. The bigger threat, obviously, is the big A word, that big river that basically has done a lot of damage to book selling, because Amazon has essentially lowered the perceived value of a book. They chose books as their loss leader because, they're easy to package. They're a uniform shape and size, pretty much. And if you see that price with the slash through it and it's 40% less on Amazon, well, that's my margin, that's how I run my business, kind of thing. So people think that, you must be ripping them off if it's 40% off on Amazon and it's, this price here. So that's done its damage. But a lot of people now, the shop local movement has, since COVID actually did good things for me. People really embraced shop local. And once they step away from the dark side, I think they realize the advantage of dealing with someone face to face, someone who knows you, knows your interests, will happily ship the book to you, just like Amazon does, can get you the exact same book that Amazon can. And yeah, maybe not at 40% off, but there's loyalty programs and so forth. There's other ways that you are rewarded for staying local.
Well, and I noticed even in Peterborough, our public library did a fabulous job with curbside.
Yep.
And we're like almost right out of the starting gate. They had it figured out, tweaked it. And, I'd stand in line for my books and there would be people ahead of me that were, that had 6 and 8 books in a stack. And I'm thinking, good on you. And they, it just ran along nicely. And I think that probably, I'm guessing, I'm not an expert on what the stats are for the public library, but I think I would like to think a lot of people saw something in their library that they just hadn't taken the time to look at before and said, I need to be coming back and reading paper books, borrowing paper books. And
exactly right. And so, I mean, a lot of businesses I know, pardon me, struggled or failed, and I certainly understand why, but for some reason, book selling did well. I think it was a comfort factor for sure. And we were able to do exactly what you're describing with the library, is to take the orders and deliver the books. I just get in my car and drive around. It was very fascinating seeing where my customers lived. That's really random. When would that ever happen in your life, where you would know where your customers lived? So that was strange and interesting. But yeah, we made it through. It was, I wouldn't say it was my favorite time. It was not, but
no, it was hard. Yeah.
It wasn't the worst thing I've had to do in my life.
Yeah. No, it was in a short length of time, we had to think differently, didn't we?
Yes. You had to, if I heard that word pivot one more time.
Oh yeah.
But that's what we did. We did the old pivot. For sure.
So I understand recently you had Rick Mercer.
Yes. He was part of the Book Drunkard in the fall.
Oh, tell me about it. I think he is a scream.
Yeah, he was great. He was really great. I actually had Brent Butt as well, the guy from Corner Gas, and on a different event. And his new book is a thriller called Huge, which of course everyone in the store, because we look at the book title and then the last name of the author. So it was Huge Butt, of course, which I think must have been part of his mission in calling it that. But anyway, that book, that event, he was not what I expected at all. He was very droll, very low key, and the book's pretty cool too, by the way. He's a pretty good writer. And then Rick Mercer was a week or whatever later, and he was on a huge tour. So I think we were towards the end of it, and I think he was exhausted, because I went down with him into the green room. That's not really a green room, but we call it the green room, and sat with him. And he was very kind of low key and had, and when he got up on stage, he came to life, and somebody asked him a question about that very thing. And he said, in my world, when that red light comes on TV, obviously, you come to life. And I thought, well, that's exactly what just happened to you. There's no red light, but basically the spotlight was on and he came to life, and he was animated and funny, and the Rick Mercer that we all know and love. And then a very different man that had been down in the green room, who was tired and probably a little hungry and, all that stuff. So yeah, he was lovely. I asked him to be the prime minister. We would all, and everyone in the room stood up like, yes, we would vote for Rick Mercer.
Yes,
prime minister.
Would.
Did I just say president? No, prime minister.
No, you said prime. Yeah.
Good, because I've got that president on my mind right now. But anyway.
Yeah, well. Shelley, I really appreciate you being with us today because
Pleasure.
I know you're busy and you've got so many things going on. And at Blue Heron Books, there's always some fun and some action, and
Yes.
that's what we love about what literature creates for us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you're up for it, I've
Yep.
got 5 rapid fire questions that we
Sure.
are going to ask you just to learn a little more about you. And if you're good, I'm going to ask.
Sure.
Okay.
Do it.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
Fiction or non?
Fiction.
Sandals or sneakers?
Barefoot.
Okay. Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Rock or jazz?
Always rock. Headbanger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm there with you. I'm on the bus.
Yes. Back of the bus. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Pleasure.
Blue Heron Books in Uxbridge, and you've been rocking it for a long time, and
Thanks.
it's so great what you're doing for everybody, and you know, building that love of books, because you know, sometimes it's your best friend.
Yes, I'll say. It
Yeah.
gets you through a lot of rough times for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I love what you do too, because it does the exact same thing. We're comfort mongers.
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
That's great.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Janet.
so much.
Appreciate it. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.